I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Jolby. Ghosty. Oh, Chip. Chip.
Chippy. Shout out to the big homie Germ. Much love to the big homie. Is this a Patreon pick?
No, this is for Daniel.
Shout out to the big homie Daniel. There's multiple ways to get your song reviewed, dear listener. There's the old-fashioned way in the comment section and in the, what do you call it?
Anywhere. Twitter. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that jazz. So you can do that. Or my favorite one is you join an alliance, $1 at the gate, and Patreon, and you get plugged into a community. That's what I like about it, it's a community aspect. Plus, I feel like it was probably the most ingenious idea that I've had on this forum.
I'll never believe who came up with it.
It was me. She was all angry at me.
I was. I yelled at you on our whole walk.
Yelled at me. We had a 2-mile walk we used to go on. She yelled at me.
Yep. Like, how could you announce that before we talked about it?
There's a cop there. He did nothing. Black men in distress.
What are you talking about?
There was the cop across the street. He's over there at Cumberland Farms. Oh,
I must have quieted down.
I'm glad he didn't see you. I'm glad he didn't see you yelling at me. He'd be like, "Gun!"
Oh my God! Look at the lights flickering and everything. What is happening with the lights now?
Anyway, and then the other way to do it is the filthy capitalist Sori. I think I hit the thing for the computer thing, so it's all dark now. The kids.
What? Why are you blaming the kids? Okay, the other way that you can get it reacted to is the $75 tier.
I don't know what happened. Unplug the thing. We spent all that time getting this computer on, getting the lighting
all right, we'll be back.
We shall return.
My gosh, we're back.
So, gun. Yeah.
That took
like 15 minutes.
Maybe even longer than that. I don't even know. Anyway, keep your feet beneath you. Don't kick around in this room.
It's the kid's fault.
Okay, so anyway, this is our $75 tier, and so the big homie Daniel picked this song. I'm sorry, I have a cold, so I'm a little weird. The band is Therion-Rise of Sodom and Gomorrah, and apparently this is like a live. It looks like a live opera.
Yeah, this should be interesting. Yeah, and anytime we do a live, people do this. They go, "Oh, you should have done the studio version." Da da da. If it is a Patreon pick or if it is an alliance pick, we always go with what the people say we should do because it's their choice. It's their choice. So it's their decision. Inside joke. I don't know why everybody's blaming me. All right, so let's do it.
Oh my gosh, that's such terrible leadership. No.
Oh boy, yeah, that's good. I'm teaching the kids something in man study. I'm gonna have to play that clip side by side next to Jocko.
I can't hear a thing. You hear? Oh, you turn my thing down? Oh. No, I was trying to edit and you were like, stop that. And so I needed to continue on working, so I had my headphones in and unplugged yours. What a shocker. That's good. It's good for you. Ready? Yeah, go.
That sounds like that show we watched. Servant.
What?
Servant.
Oh.
Doesn't it?
I don't think so. Kind of, yeah. Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I think we saw this band once.
Oh, you can't tell me there won't be metal in heaven.
This is one of those songs where I really, really appreciate.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because I could hear him perfectly. I could hear the operatic stuff and the the instruments and then just the guitar. It makes a very big difference. You know, the Beats headphones, you just have like the bass uptick, but this one, like you hear everything separately but together at the same time. So thank you very much for getting me these. I appreciate it very much.
Me too. Did you see there was like a very old lady in here?
Yeah.
Oh, you saw her?
Yeah, I saw her.
I was like, oh, how cute.
Yeah, anytime I see an old lady doing some metal stuff, I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Then I think to myself, like, if I get to like the 70s or the 80s, like in my age, like, what will the music be?
Right. You'll still appreciate it.
Then I'll be the cool person. Then I'll be the cool old guy listening.
Yeah, but you're black, so you're not going to look as old. They're not going to think that. If I was doing it, they'd be like, look at that little old lady.
Yeah.
Look at that tall old lady.
No, because we'll still be doing. We'll be doing the sauna and the and the keto and the thing.
Right. We'll both look. This will look really good on you.
What?
That sweater.
Yeah.
I like the writing right there.
Yeah. What does it say?
I don't know.
Does it say capitalism?
Doesn't really matter.
Does it say capitalism kills? Is that what
no,
it says?
It doesn't. That's a cool one too.
Yeah, that's what it says. Capitalism kills.
It does not say capitalism kills.
Yeah.
Anyway, this
only
was
$106.
No, it's down to $55.90.
Yeah, down to $55.
That would look really good on you. You should get it.
I see.
As a birthday present for me.
Okay. All right. Can we get back to our regular scheduled program?
Okay, this was really, really, really good. I loved the way anytime I am a complete sucker for metal being mixed with opera. Like a whole orchestra. Like a whole bunch of them.
Symphony orchestra, yeah.
So many people, so many voices.
The first time I'd heard that was Metallica. They did a symphonic version.
I don't think I liked it when I first heard it. I think I was like, liked it, but not. I feel like that I've grown in my understanding of like what I'm liking and what I don't like.
Yeah.
Because I think at the beginning, it was harder for me to score stuff. So.
Well, I don't think it was harder. You just didn't like it.
Well, yeah, but it made it harder because I didn't have a palate for it.
Right. It made it harder for other people. They're like, how could you not like that?
Peace sells you.
Yeah.
You bitch.
It's the whole dichotomy. People want authenticity, and then when you're authentic, they get mad at you. Right. I got one guy that gets mad at me all the time. He gets mad at me whenever I give my real opinion on something. It's hilarious. He's never happy. But I'm glad you keep listening to the stuff. I just think sometimes people want to be angry. All right. What?
Maybe. I don't know.
What do you think the song is about?
I literally barely looked at the lyrics because I was just watching all the people.
Yeah. I think, have we listened to Therion before?
Yeah, we have.
And we listened to one of their orchestra ones before, didn't we?
I don't remember which one it was, but
I was trying to see if we did.
I am like 99.9% sure that we did.
I feel like we did a Therion song.
Therion, right here. Yeah, the siren of the woods. Yeah.
That's the one I gave a 10, and I think you gave it like a 7 or something like that.
Well, we're both clapping.
People were very angry at you.
We're both clapping. We're both clapping in the thumbnail.
Very angry at you.
Well, anyway, people are going to do what they're going to do.
Okay, so, the Princess Justine sing a song of her sin, of pleasures and pain and virtues in vain. To the ear that will hear and the one without fear, to the old fallen ones and the forbidding thing they all have done. Sun entered the Capricorn and the star of Sodom will shine. The king of Sodom drinks again Lady Babylon's wine. That's a good...
Yeah, I saw that part. It was at the very beginning.
Very, very, very intelligent. It's funny because the king of Sodom is actually mentioned in Genesis, but not in the Sodom, not in the Sodom and Gomorrah story.
Not the same Sodom? Is it the same Sodom?
It's the same Sodom.
Oh. What does it say about him?
I think it was Abraham. Remember when he had to strap up a sword and they kidnapped Lot and all the rest of it? And I think the king of Sodom was one of the bad guys that he had to defeat. Yeah, king of Sodom and Abraham. So Lot got kidnapped.
I feel like for all
there it is. Then Bera, right there. Then Bera, the king of Sodom, came to Abraham.
Oh, thanked him.
Yeah, so that's when. So they formed an alliance. So Abraham had formed an alliance with the king of Sodom.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think Bera. There it is, right there. Hear the king Bera cry out in land Canaan, and daughters of Lot cry for their father and their God, because remember Lot got kidnapped. So the king had fought alongside of Abraham.
I don't remember. Is this a religious band?
No, I think they're like a black metal band, actually. I think.
Interesting.
But this is. I'm not certain that he's not portraying Sodom as a bad place. I don't think. It seems to be that it's almost
Boriora or something like that. What was that?
Borora?
Yeah.
I have no
Sodom and Gomorrah.
I have no idea.
What is gnosis again?
Gnosis would be
knowledge?
Like the most naked definition would be knowledge. It'd be the most direct definition. Gnosis is knowledge.
Okay.
Knowledge of Borora. I don't know. Maybe Borora is some sort of demon or something. You know what I mean?
I know we don't do this, but I have to know.
There it is.
Well, which one do I click on?
Just click it. Just click the first one.
The first one's fine?
Who knows? What does Borora stand for? Here are all the possible meanings of the word Borora. Chaldean numerology, Pythagorean numerology. So it's probably some numerological thingamajiggy, which would make sense. Reveal the gnosis of Borora.
I don't know. See, this is what I'm talking about. Anytime I try to find something, it's never very clear. You would think that would just be like...
Why? Why would that be
This
easy?
guy put it in his song, so it must have meant something to him.
Yeah, but I don't think it'd be easy. But yeah, probably having something to do with numerology. You know, he's talking about sun entering Capricorn and talking about, like that's when I guess that's between the 22nd and the 24th of December. Oh. When that happens. The star of sin will shine, which is very ironic considering December 25th is supposedly Jesus. It wasn't. It was September 11th, but that's...
Oh, what? I always thought it was like in September. Yeah, you just said September?
September 11th.
Yeah, I was like, I always thought it was September, but for some reason I was thinking you said December 11th.
Yeah, September 11th. I think it's September 11th. But, then you've got Set, right? The Setian alchemy. Set is a major sort of... I don't want to say satanic, but... It's usually looked on the opposite of God, and it's a powerful spiritual being.
Oh.
So, I'm not. This is kind of maybe a celebration of Sodom, and maybe looking here, it's like maybe the Sodomites weren't really that bad, Like here's King Bera cry out in land Canaan, and daughters of Lot cry for their father and their God. Which assumes that you know the story.
Yeah.
That it was actually the Sodomites who took part in rescuing Lot.
Right.
So,
Weird, huh?
It's one of those things where it's like, oh, the Bible's saying that these guys are all bad, but he was part of the thing. What was interesting though is that the king Bera wanted to give Abraham some of the ganima, some of the booty. And Abraham was like, no, I don't want any of your stuff. Yeah, he said,
you take the stuff and give us our people.
Yeah. He's like, because I don't want you to say that you had any part in this, because Yahweh was the one that helped us defeat him, yada, yada, yada. So it's a very, very interesting song.
It's interesting because Sodom and Gomorrah, like, at that time, what you're referencing, they were obviously a charitable people. Like, they went to help Abraham, you said?
Yeah.
Something happened between there and their end, because it said that they wouldn't give to the poor, they wouldn't,
That's true, but I mean, it might have been like a Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemaber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. All these joined force in the battle of Shaddim, in the valley of Shaddim. So they were serving under this guy, Kedorlaomer, and then they rebelled. Mm-hmm. And then Kedorlaomer and the kings that came with him defeated the Rephaim. Rephaim are actually, what do you call it? Nephilim.
That actually...
Giants, yeah.
I was wondering.
In Ashtoreth Karnaim. And Ashtoreth is a
female goddess.
A female goddess, yeah. The Zuzim in Ham and the Emim in Shavath Karathim. I'm convinced this is where Tolkien got the names for all of his places. And the Horites in their hill country, da-da-da-da-da. So, it just looked like there was a battle between two groups of people.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that the Sodomite kings decided that they were going to ally with those guys. It doesn't mean that they were charitable. It just means that there was a political situation happening.
I see.
And Abraham was a man of means.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, the celebration of Sodom, to me, in the metal community is one of those things where I'm like, because and it's funny because I blame Christians, for the celebration of, well, because a lazy sort of Christian sort of explanation of Sodom is like, oh, you had these gay guys and God destroyed the city because they were gay.
Yeah.
When the text tells us that he did it because they were fat, they were full of ease, they didn't care for the poor and needy, and then it says, and they committed an abomination before me, so I destroyed them when I saw it.
Right.
The specific abomination was not two consenting adults doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm not saying that the Old Testament co-signs that either. Obviously, it doesn't. Right. The specific abomination, though, in Sodom,
that's right,
was an attempted gang rape of a whole city of people. And I have yet to meet a single metalhead who would ever co-sign that.
Right.
Like a whole city of people gang raping two people,
right,
gay, straight, or otherwise.
Right. Yeah.
I don't see the metal community, and the other thing I don't see the metal community co-signing would be the complete selfishness that characterized Sodom, where people are if the church did a better job of actually talking about what God's actual issues with Sodom were, people would be like, well, screw those people.
Right.
But because we're so homophobic and we're so reductionistic, and we just say, oh, they're gay, that's why I did it. Yeah. Then now it's like you're going to use that sort of as a almost a symbol, as an archetype to be against, God and to what they perceive as arbitrary rules that don't make any sense other than just you're uncomfortable with certain, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's again one of those things where it's like, well, it talks about like the gang rape thing, it doesn't say anything about just, homosexuality in that part, but then it talks about not feeding the poor and the needy and stuff like that. Right. And then you gotta kind of say to yourself, well, why is it that you couldn't see what was written there in black and white about that passage? Like, why did it become something else that is always the sin that you demonize? Why can't it be the thing that you struggle with? Christians, depending on who they are, some of them will give so much money away to the church, or to a given church because they want to reap some sort of a benefit from it, health or family wise or whatever. But as far as taking their money and helping the poor and the needy, or a mom that needs help so that way she doesn't, feel like she's out of options with her pregnancy. Yeah.
They don't want any parts of this. And
very bizarre.
And the funny thing is, in the look back to Sodom and Gomorrah in Ezekiel, there are very specific sins that are named. So it says, that they were fat, which just means that they were overindulgent. Yeah. They despised they didn't care for the poor and needy. They were inhospitable. So those sins are listed specifically. Mm-hmm. And then it says, then they committed an abomination before me, so that I destroyed them when I saw it. Yep. Which this specific abomination would be the gang rape in the episode in Genesis 16. Right. What's interesting is the financial sins and the sins of pride and arrogance and things are called out specifically. Mm-hmm. But then the actual sexual sin is just called an abomination.
Yeah,
He doesn't specifically name it. It's almost like God's like, I know what these freaking people are going to do. They're going to focus specifically on the gay stuff. And I'm not even going to name the gay stuff. But the other stuff that Christians throughout history have struggled with, once we got out of the catacombs, which is our selfishness and all the rest of it, that stuff gets completely whitewashed out of the text. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Okay.
And really, unfortunately, the last straw for the Sodomites was sexually assaulting visitors from another country. So when you see these things
girls
about
that are being tricked into getting a job, and then they find out that they're actually
correct, or kids that have been in U.S. custody that end up getting sexually assaulted, and we don't know what it's.
Oh my gosh!
And then you've got Christians supporting this type of action.
What do you mean? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they don't want any reform. They don't want any immigration reform. Da 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 da. And you know what the response is? Oh, well, they shouldn't come here illegally. It's their fault. It's their mom's fault.
Yeah.
And there's no compassion whatsoever.
Right.
For these kids and these are kids.
Oh, I know.
Now the crime in Genesis 16 was they were two grown men.
Right.
And God's like, you're going to do that to grown men?
Yeah.
And God destroyed the city. These are kids that this is happening to. You know, Billy Graham says that if God doesn't destroy America, he has to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah. And I say, I agree with you, but for much different reasons, Brother Grant.
Right.
It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable to me, like how we don't see this stuff. But this is what happens when you don't look at the text. Like we had a situation today where I was talking to somebody and he threw something out there and it was obvious that he didn't look at what the actual text said. Yeah. But this is a danger. And this is why in the Bible boogies, like we have people reading the actual text and you can see it there on the screen. Like that's the danger, because if you think you know the story, but you really don't know the story. Like you really don't.
Yeah.
Like even
all the time.
Even we're reading Genesis 14. I was like, oh shit! I always thought that the Sodomites were the bad guys that Abraham was fighting. Turns out they were in alliance with Abraham. So it's just like there's a lot that changes a lot of things, right? So after I'm done all this, I got one thing with Matthew for Middle America, but you know, once I'm done with all that, I'm gonna be like all over that and being like, whoa! I'm sure I'm gonna find something pretty ridiculously mind blowing, because that's just how the Bible works, but. If you don't, and it's crazy to me, like this guy right here, Bera. Now I know, because we had to look at Genesis 14, that Bera was the name of the king. I didn't know, but this guy did. You know what I'm saying?
Research,
you know what I'm saying? It's just like it's like you know, like it's unbelievable. Like you have got to read the text. Like you have to read it. You do not know the story.
Right.
People repeat stuff over and over and over again. Like, no, you don't know the story. Period. Like,
oh, yeah, it happens all the time.
You know, so it's just very, very interesting. And then the song ends with, we didn't hear it in this thing, but it says, a cry of complaint of Sodom and Gomorrah. Yes, it's loud and their sins are heavy. Which is what Jesus said to Abraham. He says, you know, the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah has been very great, but I will go down and see if, you know, if it is as they say. And if it is, then I will know.
Yep.
So, really, really interesting stuff. But it just seems to be a celebration of that. And the relationship between sin and pleasure and where that falls in people's moral compass is very interesting. You know, it's sometimes I wonder to myself, like, is it that sinful things are pleasurable? Or is it pleasurable to be a sinful person? You know, is it that like these awesome things that like you want to do but you can't do because you're not supposed to, or is the, you know, like in Proverbs where the evil woman says stolen water is sweet. You know, is that really what's going on, or is it vice versa? And I'm not particularly sure. You know, maybe it's a case by case. Maybe it's a case by case thing. Maybe it's you know. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, but because I hear both extremes. Like I've heard like hardcore, like middle American type folks say there's nothing better than a good night's rest after a hard day's work. And then
that's a good feeling though.
I've also heard some pretty grimy people talk about, you know, there's nothing better than spending, you know, money that you stole from a bank or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's it's like that's one of the strange concepts of sin and how it works. And I get these strange conversations with people. They say there's no such thing as sin, and I'm like, no. Like, do you believe that there are morally bad things to do? Yes. Okay. Well, then okay. So let's not get caught in the weeds of the words.
Right.
120 days in the depth of the Dead Sea and walk with the path of Pecadus to Setian alchemy. Very intelligent, very brilliant. It would take us 9 hours to discuss. But didn't the Dead Sea is all those salt deposits, right?
Yeah.
So
Is that where everybody floats real easily?
Yeah. You go there and you're like at 100% buoyancy or something like that because
I've always thought that was so interesting.
And some people can like walk on it in certain seasons.
Yeah,
like,
I heard
crazy.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that Jesus didn't actually walk on the water.
Yeah. He's in the Dead Sea, which no, he wasn't. But no, he wasn't.
Well, we see why you said.
Why you said it. So. I don't know. Maybe that's like maybe they're saying that that's a site of Sodom and Gomorrah after everything was all destroyed or whatever. But you're still walking the path of Peccatus, which that P-E-C in Latin is the root word for sin. Talking about somebody's peccadillos or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And it usually has a sexual connotation to it. So it's talking about walking the path of,
Oh okay.
Sexual liberation is such an interesting idea. Because, I've seen so many things in life, as you grow up, you start to see so many things where it's like what people are calling freedom ends up becoming another person's slavery if you cannot manage, moderation. You know what I mean? So it's almost like everything has the ability to become some horrible, terrible addiction that ends up ruining a life. Yeah,
so, I would agree with that. There's
very strange, very strange. We live in a world of conundrums and paradoxes, and that's kind of one of my favorite kind of back and forth with Peter is where we're all kind of looking at the world and looking at all the paradoxes and contradictions that is the world. Like to me, ultimate sexual freedom is monogamy with a person that you love. Like that's the ultimate. And I've experienced varied forms of stuff, and it's not really freedom. The other stuff is it's just not. But when but if you're not a person who's experienced that, it's like, yeah, right.
But maybe a little.
Yeah, there's other people like, well, I'd like to experience it so that I could know that it's wrong for sure.
I just want to know if I'll become a slave because I'm not sure.
Let's take my word for it. What do you give the song?
I'm actually going to 9.9. I really liked it.
Well, I like the symphony stuff. The actual metal, like musicianship, was a little bit simple for me.
Yeah.
But maybe they were modifying the song so that they could emphasize the thingamajiggy.
I liked it.
So that's kind of where I'm at. So that hurt it a little bit. So it's a 9.2 for me. But this guy's stuff is intelligent, and it's going to make me go back into my Bible. So there you are, dear listener. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.